course, if we're to take a look at how the rosters are shaping up, well, you take a look at the running back room, and there's a lot of players in there, but will they all be able to make the roster? How is it stacking up? We're going to bring in our Washington football insider, Logan Campbell. Logan, break down the RB room for us.
Thanks, Julie. Well, when it comes to the running back position, there is no shortage on this team. Right now, there are 7 running backs that bring a new level of depth and flexibility that we haven't seen before. We obviously have to start off with Adrian Peterson, who is the tone setter for this team, and running back coach Randy Jordan said it best: when God made AP, he made him a football player. Next up, we have Darius Geis, who has a set of tools that a lot of running backs don't have. He can make the catches, the runs, the blocks, and make the tough yards. But the question is, can he stay healthy? Last season, we had an appetizer, but he is ready to give us the whole entire meal. Next up, Bryce Love is finally cleared and ready to get going. Running back coach Randy Jordan actually has known Bryce Love since high school and compared his skill set to Christian McCaffrey. Now, someone to pay close attention to during training camp is Antonio Gibson. He's a player that wears many, many hats. He played quarterback and wide receiver in college, and he sees the offense from many different aspects, not just from the running back position. When you add in J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber, and Josh Ferguson to the mix, we are going to see a full-on battle during training camp. Julian Santana, there is still so much up in the air when it comes to the running back position, but hopefully during training camp, we'll be able to get some answers.
Thank you, Logan. Looking forward to working with Logan throughout training camp. She's going to be our insider, bringing us all the news and notes that we can't get. Look, it's very interesting and going to be unusual trying to cover this team because we're going to be so separated from the team, the media, the way they go. It's going to be a lot of Zoom interviews, so very different going through that. Look, Randy Jordan, the coach of the running back room, he was with the season last year with the team last year, and Gruden, one of the coaches that did carry over. He said, look, this is the most versatile room that he's had because in this system, in Scott Turner's system, you have to be able to not just run, but you have to be able to catch. I mean, you saw what they did with Christian McCaffrey, over 2,000 yards with him. They like to be able to disguise that. You take a look at this room, and I mean, Adrian Peterson, he can still get it done, but, you know, you look at the yards that he gets, he's not the Adrian Peterson in his 20s. He still, though, is somebody you can rely upon.
Very dominant, and I think one of the things that you can speak on when it comes to that running back room is that they have a running back by committee, you know, at hand right now. You know, you don't necessarily have to have one guy that's carrying the load. When you have AP, he's the workhorse. He's the guy that I think that I will always say, I need to see him on first and second down. But if you have a healthy, you know, Bryce Love and Geis, who knows how that thing might mix up. But then you also have a young guy coming in, Antonio Gibson, that can be that Christian McCaffrey. So I think they have a great room that they can always decide, you know, week of that how they want to run the ball, what we want to show teams. And I think that's a great thing to have, that you can always switch up and say, hey, I want to do this more this week, or I want to pound the football. Later in the season, we want to pound the football, so it's great to have an AP on your team.
You know, I heard that they could carry 4, maybe 5 running backs, depending on how they decide to classify Antonio Gibson. Look, he's right now spending most of his time in the running back room, but of course, he's known to be a receiver. And again, even as Logan was saying, he played quarterback, so he sees the field differently than when you just call him in. And there are times where he's in the running back room and he's seeing it from the wide receiver standpoint. They're like, wait a second, there's a different package for you. How challenging is that for a player that plays both positions but spending most of his time in just one room?
Well, I'm curious. You know, I'm curious to see what he wants to do more of. You know, when I watched his film, I thought immediately that he would be that receiver on this level. He's bigger than most of the guys, but you can line him up in the slot. You know, nowadays you have these guys with that stature in the slot more often. So I'm interested to see what he wants to do more of, but I think he has a great skill set that they can throw him anywhere. And I think when it comes down to making that roster out, they can always say, well, you know what, you're going to be a receiver this week, but we're going to use you in certain packages in the backfield. So he's a guy that's going to get a lot of touches because he can do so much.
And look, I mean, she mentioned it right there. So much excitement around Darius Geis. I mean, look, when you saw what he could do, it just makes you feel like Randy Jordan had it right. It's the appetizer, but you want so much more. And I know he is so anxious to get out there and be able to prove what he's capable of doing. He hasn't really fully been able to do that yet so far, spending the last 2 seasons ending up on IR. And then Bryce Love, I can't wait to see what he can do and coming on the field. And look, he's cleared to play. It's just going to be a matter of when he gets out there if he can make those cuts and do all of that. But those 2 players, with their hands, with their ability to run, could really be dynamic for this team.
I think it's great that you have 2 guys that you can really lean on and say they're capable of being the guy for us. But it's also great to have a guy like AP there, because now you get the chance to have those 2 guys sit back and watch a pro be a pro, and he showed that from day one. I don't even know why a year or two ago we were sitting here thinking about not playing this guy. So just having that guy in the room is going to bring these guys and speed things up for them, because they're going to get a chance to sit there and watch how he eats, how he take care of himself, and how he goes out there and handle his business on the practice field and take it to the game field in between those white lines. So I'm happy to see what this room could be together, and when it comes time, they're going to be able to lean on all of them.
You know, you mentioned what he eats. I mean, he's openly admitted that he likes honey buns a lot. And exactly how long you microwave them. So it blows my mind that he can eat that. But then look, I mean, what, when you're training and you're working that hard during the off season, I suppose you can have a honey bun here or two.
Yeah.
Not now for us. We're on this side of it. We're sitting during
I still
practices.
sneak one in here and there, but you know.
But there is something to be said for the experience that he does bring. And even Peyton Barber coming in, he's a very consistent runner. You know what you're going to get from him. He had some good years with Atlanta, over 800 yards a couple years ago. Then last season he split it with Ronald Jones. So you can expect him to be in the mix as well. Look, it's a good, as you said before, it's a good problem to have, to be able to have those options. And if everybody is healthy, then look, they have even more decisions on their hand to be made.